AC today. Maybe a little bit better, but it's hot as fuck. It's like 105 degrees or some shit like that. Stay inside. Stay inside. I repeat, stay the fuck in your house. Should be taking my own damn advice, but yeah. Anyways, I want to tell you uh, this story that is so outrageous. The writers couldn't have used their imagination to make it work. Okay? So, it's a guy and his wife living the, white picket fence life. And, like, the bills are getting to him because the wife is going to nursing school, and the father works as a security guard, like every year around I think Alaska. It's a lot of jewels and things down in this hole, and they're robbing them blind, so they decided to put a booth there, right? We're gonna watch out for them during the cold. They won't come, and they won't do shit, right? Well, all of a sudden the phone rings, and the husband's like, oh, he's sick and tired of family life. Should have thought about that before popping your wife up and getting married and shit. But anyways, he picks up the phone and said, he's heard something or whatever. And he hangs up. It tends to be nothing there. It's just dark. He's with his flashlight, and he didn't see anything. So he opens his Campbell's or whatever he bought for lunch with his can opener, and from the looks of it, the police said it looks like he saw something and put it down because he never got to warm it up or eat it or anything, and ran out there. And so the next day, the supervisor came and was like, yeah, where's Brian? I have no idea, his wife's called, whoop, whoop, whoop. So the phone rings again. Police is like, let me answer it. Oh, yes. Yeah, I've been looking for him and, this, that, and the other. And he doesn't have a credit card, but a credit card came in the mail for him, and I don't know what the hell's going on, right? So typically it looks like he left his wife, right? So sheriff's like, oh, okay. Well, a few minutes later, another woman calls saying it's the wife. Cops like, totally different voice. Like, have they done something to Brian? He didn't know. It's like, yeah, no one's heard from Brian. Have you heard from him? No, I used to work there, and, we're just friends now. Da 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 da. Okay, cool. So the next week, nothing. And management's like really, really worried. Okay. And his friend that was first looking, for him out in that desolate place, was there when the police came, and the police was like, yeah, his wife was, or he was cheating on his wife. It's like, oh, yeah, like you already knew, okay? And then he was like, the cop just let him cook for a bit. They teach them that, just be quiet and they'll tell on themselves, right? Well, the cop is drinking his coffee, letting this dude cook a little bit more. And he's like, yeah, I found his ID on the floor of, the little shed y'all, worked out of. So, I don't know what's going on. Cop's like, okay, it's been enough time. He goes over to the wife's house. Okay, she sounds like one of the women that was on the phone. And he tells her exactly, what the story was. He went missing, he got tired of family life and hadn't been home, blah, 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 They can't function without him, this, that, and the other. Well, then the cop's scratching his head like, what the hell? Okay? What the hell? And finally the cop says, he's walking out, he's like, I gotta know something. Do you believe that Brian was cheating on you? She was like, yeah, how'd you know that? And she started pulling out, she says he's never had credit cards. So she pulls out the, hey Twiggy. She pulls out all the paperwork for this credit card or whatever, right? She knows her man. Right? And so they both go back with the sheriff, the best friend is still at the cabin, it's his shift. And he like stands up real quick once the police officer walked in there, like he was on high alert. And the police was like, oh yeah, she thinks that he's cheating and, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 you know what I mean? And this dude's like, eyes are huge, police knew something wasn't right, okay? So what he does is he starts talking to the police like, the police officer starts saying, well, hey, maybe Brian ran off with this chick because the credit card had Las Vegas, Los Angeles, like, big, 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 spending on it, for the wife to have not known about it, right? And this dude actually acts like he knows, right? Well, Brian and him were best friends, and he was like, I got it. Are you both, remember the wife is with the police officer, you guys are both cheating on each other, right? She said, yeah, things have gotten lackluster in our relationship or whatever, but we didn't do anything to him. We didn't do anything to him, right? Finally, it was where they could see during the daytime, and the friend starts saying, so hypothetically, what if gold and stuff was taken, and the killers, or the burglars would line it up by the crusher, and then he would fall in by accident, and all this stuff is on top of him, and he's gone, hypothetically, right? Hypothetically. So it was both of them cheating, the husband with the girl at the job, and her with the best friend, Todd, I believe his name was. Todd was already like, fuck it, take me to jail. He stood up like, hold on, buddy, hold on. You're not implicated in any kind of way. But that police officer did a great job just letting him cook. I can't believe that will work, because my first thing I would say is, lawyer, please. Lawyer. I don't care if it's a court, appointed. I want a lawyer. That's what you should always say, no matter if you're guilty or not. It's been such a, big percentage of people going down for years and years and years, or even getting killed. And, posthumously, they'll put a plot plaque out for him saying, oh yeah, he was an innocent guy, blah blah blah. Bitch, what good does that do for me? I'm in the ground. Fucking worms are eating my body, Kind of shit is that? That's why you should never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever cooperate or, talk or anything. But Brian, not Brian, Todd, they caught him off guard. He thought he was going to jail then, But that hypothetical, this, and, yeah, it'd have been thieves stealing, but it's been the staff. That's why it was so clean. It was the security guards, him and his best friend, day and night, That's why so much of that shit was gone. What did I say? Right. I like the right to remain silent. I plead the fifth. Who was that in Congress that sat there with that country ass accent? It's not go. Pete Sessions. Pete Sessions. His whole, even his depositions, when they're trying to force him to talk, I have no conclusion. I don't know. I plead the fifth. You know what I mean?
No, I don't recall.
And I don't recall. He said a bunch of them, okay? He said a bunch of them. So, you need to be like Pete. I won't say that about, everything Pete did, but he did that interview in front of Congress. They can't do anything when you don't recall now, can they? They can't force no story up on you. They tried, and they lost. They lost. I think he was a lawyer. He was a lawyer back in the day and shit. So.
Goddamn attorney too.
Say what? Yeah, remain silent. Why don't people think that they, Twiggy? Maybe you know. Why do people feel as though they need to talk to the cops?
Makes you look innocent.
What makes them look innocent? It's gonna make them open their mouth, and they're gonna you know what I'm saying?
If they work, it makes them look innocent. Right?
That's stupid. That is stupid. Me, myself, even if, like, even with my brain being like it is with this disease, I would ask for a fucking lawyer because it's gonna get all tangled up. My story is, my brain is no good. I got donkey brains, as Charlie Day said. I got the donkey brains. So they'd be able to fucking charge me with bullshit, even though I'd be innocent, I can't imagine how many people went to the chair or were hung, especially Salem witch trials, It took a guy to come in there, John, whatever, I think it was John Smith or something, and showed up. It was like, y'all are stupid. There's no thing about a witch killing dogs or, floating or, this, that, the other, and then they got their shit together. But those people were believing. I mean, imagine it's even more towns that, are like that. So that's creepy as shit. But yeah, I'm definitely taking a cold ass bath when I get home. So you guys wait, put your alarm bells on, please like, subscribe if you haven't. It does not cost a penny. It just helps out a blind woman who's trying to make it in this world, okay? I love you guys and God bless.